Today I want to talk about a topic that I really didn't plan on doing a video about because I didn't really know it was that big of a topic. But last night in a podcast it came up and a lot of people had some very strong opinions. And one of the things that struck me is how dangerous some of those opinions were and how unsettling they were. So I want to cover that topic today in this video. The topic is that little boy, and I'm not going to try to say his name because I don't really know his name, that brought the homemade clock, or some people want to say it was a homemade bomb to school, and it got a lot of media attention. The school really overreacted. I think the police really overreacted. And a lot of people said, well, I think they were justified in overreacting, and here's why. And a lot of the reasons these people gave for why they were justified in overreacting is frightening to me, especially coming from people who support the Second Amendment. So I wanted to address why I find these opinions so disconcerting. Now, first off, I want to say I think this was an orchestrated event by the father. I don't think this was the kid's idea. Now, maybe there is the possibility that maybe this was his project, maybe he was proud of it, etc. There are those possibilities, but I think that this was orchestrated by the father. He sent this in saying, watch how the white man overreacts to the brown-skinned kid with a clock. I think that's what he did. I think he was wanting a media uproar, and I think the authorities, by overreacting, gave him exactly what he wanted. Not only does he now have a soapbox to yell from, he also is benefiting financially from it. His kids getting free school, getting free college, getting free internships, etc. Things that other kids wouldn't get, advantages other people wouldn't have. So he got what he wanted, he made a point, and he benefited financially from it. But you know, even though it was orchestrated, that to me does not justify the way the authorities acted or overreacted. And I'll tell you why I think it doesn't justify that. First off, the teachers knew it wasn't a bomb. They admit that they knew it wasn't a bomb. The first 4 teachers he talked to said, hey, that's cool, but it might look suspicious, put it away. Those teachers failed right off the bat. He's a child, he's got something in school that you think is going to cause a problem, take it from him. You don't have to have any justification, just take it from him. You take my kid's cell phone if he takes it out of his pocket, so take this thing from him, send him to the principal's office. Now, some people say, well, they took you to the principal's office. Yeah, later in the day after one of the teachers freaked the heck out. But here's the thing. They said, well, he wouldn't talk and the father wouldn't talk to him. So what? No one has to talk when they haven't done anything wrong. And a kid that doesn't talk might just be frozen up because of fear, or, he might be thinking, oh, my dad's going to beat my ass when I get home, etc. So that's not justification for anything. Someone not talking is not proof that they did something wrong. And not being able to get a hold of the father to send him home early, well, you detain him in a safe spot. If you think that bomb or clock or whatever it was, whatever you want to say it was, if you think it's a danger, well, then do the things you would do if it's a danger. Evacuate the school, sound the alarms, bring in bomb-sniffing dogs, bring in the bomb squad. The fact they didn't do any of that shows you they knew it wasn't a danger. So all they needed to do was take the kid to the office and hold him till the end of the day when they send his ass home on the bus and say, hey, tell your dad, you don't get to come back to school tomorrow because you are suspended until we work this out and we find out what's going on. I mean, they clearly knew it wasn't a bomb, or they would have done the things you would do if it was a bomb, and they didn't. You talk about how, well, they have to react, they have to actually be proactive. Well, yeah, if they thought it was a danger, they would have. They would have sounded alarms. They would have called in the bomb squad. They would have called in bomb-sniffing dogs. They would have taken the children out of the building at the very least. They didn't do any of that. They knew it wasn't a bomb. They've admitted they knew it wasn't a bomb. But a lot of people still want to justify it. They're like, well, they were still justified in doing what they did to him afterwards, after they knew he wasn't committing a crime, because something had to be done, because, his sister has called in a bomb threat and his dad's an activist, etc. And I'm like, none of that is relevant. The only thing that is relevant to this case is the fact that he did not commit a crime. He did not even violate a school rule. So he does not get to be treated like he did, despite the fact that he didn't. You don't get to say, hey, this kid didn't commit a crime, didn't break a rule, but we still need to do something about him. If you didn't commit a crime and you didn't break a rule, you get treated like someone that didn't break a crime and didn't break a rule. You don't get treated like someone that did. You don't get handcuffed, hauled away, and questioned for hours. I mean, if we want to set that precedent, every time someone open carries, do the police get to say, he's not breaking the law, he's not breaking any rules, but we still think something needs to be done about him, so I'm going to slap cuffs on him, drag him away in a squad car for 4 hours, and hope that during that time he does something I can really charge him with and arrest him, and therefore get him a criminal charge, and make sure he can't carry a gun ever again. Or say, well, good luck over the next 20 years fighting these charges. Is that what we want to do? Is we want to set that precedent? Now, a lot of people will say, well, they were still justified because of the circumstances. You're not looking at the relevant circumstances, like his sister had called in a bomb threat before, and his dad's an activist, blah, blah, blah. None of that is relevant. Like I said, the only thing that's relevant is that he wasn't doing anything wrong. My sister has a DUI. Should I have a breathalyzer on my car? My uncle was in the Ku Klux Klan when he was younger. Should I have the police follow me around and proactively making sure I don't commit a hate crime because I'm associated with people that did things like that? Do the police and the other authorities start enforcing their opinions and their hunches and their assumptions instead of enforcing the law? Because I don't want to live somewhere where they get to do that. And they're like, oh, well, he upset a lot of people, so they had to do something. Well, great. He still wasn't breaking a law or breaking a rule even. You don't get to say, hey, you're not doing anything wrong, but you're upsetting someone, so we're going to act like you did do something wrong, whether you did or you didn't. Because I hate to break it to you, every time you buy a gun, you're upsetting somebody. So should they have the right to say you can't buy a gun because you're upsetting liberals or you're upsetting sensitive people somewhere? No, they shouldn't, and they shouldn't be able to do anything like that now either in this circumstance. Now, there are some people who say, well, it was a school and there were children involved, so they have a right to overreact. No, they don't. They have a right to react and they have a right to be proactive, but they don't have a right to overreact and violate someone in this way. You don't suspend civil rights simply because children are involved. You just don't do it. I don't care what they say. It's like saying, well, the Constitution doesn't matter if the safety of a child is at stake. Doesn't that sound familiar? Doesn't that sound like what the anti-Second Amendment people do all the time? We need to get rid of guns because of the children. It doesn't make sense then. It doesn't make sense now. And some people will say, well, the police handcuffed you and stuff because they have a dangerous job and they have to be proactive. Well, yeah, they do. They have to use their best judgment to make themselves safe. But they have to do so within the parameters of not violating somebody else's rights and freedoms. This might sound like a horrible thing to say, and I would never want to see an officer that was performing his duties be harmed. Ever. I would never wish that on anyone. But I would rather see a single police officer every day die in the line of duty doing his job correctly than I would set the precedent that police officers get to violate people's civil rights simply to make their job safer. I don't get to violate people's rights to make my life safer. You don't get to violate people's rights to make your life safer. No one should have the right to disregard the Constitution and individual freedoms just because they want a little bit of safety. And anybody that thinks that, I have to say, do you not remember the warnings from the Founding Fathers? Do you not remember the warning by one specific one that says that anyone that sacrifices freedom for safety is neither free nor safe? You ain't even my real dad.